that is in every fallen man. So that in Matthew 5:28 he said that lust comes from an impure heart. In Matthew 12:34 he said that corrupt words are a result of a wicked heart. And perhaps the greatest summary of the heart can be found in Matthew 15:19 by our Lord himself. Because essentially all sin comes from a depraved heart. And he says, for out of the heart come evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, slanders. Essentially every sin under the sun comes from the heart, because the heart is excessively evil. It is excessively wicked. So despite this shameful diagnosis, Jesus insists that purity of heart is essential for intimate communion with God. Now, in regards to this matter, the Psalter made the appropriate question and provided the acceptable response. It is in Psalm 24, 3-4, as well as Psalm 73:1, where the Psalter asked the question, who may ascend into the hill of the Lord, and who may stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul to falsehood, and has not sworn deceitfully. Now, some unfortunately misunderstand that passage in Psalm 24 and believe that this is a requirement for salvation. However, that passage is talking about intimacy with God. It's talking about a growing relationship with God. So who can be in the house of the Lord? Who can grow in this intimate relationship with God? Only those who have clean hearts and who have a pure heart. This is what God demands. This is what God requires of those who truly are seeking him. You see, purity of heart is to be sincere. It is to be done without hypocrisy. It is to be resolved or determined in a pursuit of God. It is a resolute devotion to God. It consists of inner moral purity along with external moral righteousness. However, purity of the heart should not be confused or limited to external, ceremonial, or sexual purity alone. Because you see, a person can obey externally while disobey internally. And of course, God knows the truth. God knows the depths of our being. And so if we are only doing things externally, but internally things are corrupt, if the heart is still corrupt at the core, then we're not doing it with a purity of heart. And so God wants our outer works, our outer works before him to match up with the inner man. Likewise, a person, for instance, can even be a virgin, but be full of lust, and may be constantly viewing pornography. Now, they may boast about the fact that they're still a virgin, but they have a corrupt heart. It is full of lust, and this is why there's not a match between the heart and the external lifestyle. And so Jesus Christ demands that the heart match the external actions of the individual. This, of course, would be contrary to the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, who gave a good show but lacked internal purity. They were called out by the Lord on numerous occasions, but perhaps the greatest one, the greatest polemic is found in Matthew 23:25-28. They were completely corrupt at the core. They may have looked pious, they may have looked very godly, they may have put on a very nice show, they paraded their piety among the people, but it was all external. And God is not pleased with that. God sees the inner man, and he wants it to match up with the outer works. Now, it should go without saying that purity of heart is not a requirement for salvation, but rather a result of our salvation and an outgrow of our salvation. It is a dramatic and radical transformation that is taking place in the individual. You see, gold and silver find their value in purity. An authentic Christian must also have a pure heart, free of contamination from the world, so that we can then be useful for the work of the Lord. It should not be self-empowered or out of self-effort, but rather spirit-empowered. These individuals are free of duplicity, they are free of deceit, and they are free of distortion. That is why authentic Christians should watch over their hearts with all diligence, because Proverbs 4:23 tells us that from it flow the springs of life. From it, decisions are made. It is the seat of emotions, of the will, of the motivations, and therefore we must look over it with great caution so that we can have a clean heart before the Lord, and that is to seek Him decidedly. Bob Pierce,